Hey guys, Ebooks here. So this is my first commentary video, and today I'm going to bring you guys a build I came up with called the Volcano Barbarian. And it kind of relies on some of the new legendaries that got buffed for 1.04. And as you can see, it's pretty damn powerful. I'm going to bring you guys a lot of kind of builds like this in the future, so if you want to subscribe, go ahead. But yeah, I just want to show you guys a little gameplay before I got into the skills and gear. So these are the basic skills you're going to be using. Our primary attack is going to be our Fury Generator, and I've chosen Reaping Swing. And what that does is you get 3 additional Fury for each enemy that you hit. And this is a pretty AoE based build, so it works pretty well. You can also use Bash with Clobber, but Reaping Swing, from my experience, has been definitely better. And obviously we have Whirlwind with Volcanic Eruption, and that does 188% weapon damage as fire. The fire is the most important part because we kind of base the build around that with our gear. And we also have Battle Rage with Into the Fray. And what that's going to do is every time you get a crit, it's going to give you a chance to get 15 additional Fury. And I'm not sure what the exact proc rate is for that, but from my experience, Whirlwind seems to have a pretty high proc rate with it. And then we have Earthquake and Wrath of the Berserker. So these two skills they're for just killing champ packs in like 2 seconds. So I'm using Earthquake with Mountain's Call, and that removes the Fury cost and reduces the cooldown to 105 seconds. And the reason I do that is because when you cast Insanity, it costs you like 50 Fury. And then if you have to use an additional 50 Fury on Earthquake, that's a lot. So it's nice to just be able to cast it right after you cast Wrath of Berserker. So with Wrath of Berserker, I'm using Insanity, which gives you a 100% damage increase. And so what that's going to do is when I use Wrath of Berserker and then I drop Earthquake, it's going to deal 4,000% weapon damage as fire over 8 seconds instead of 2,000, which is pretty ridiculous. And when you factor in the fire gear that we have, like the plus fire damage gear, it is a tremendous amount of damage. And then pretty standard, just Warcry with Impunity. Pretty much every Barbarian build uses this. And then with the passive skills, right now I'm using Bloodthirst, which gives me lifesteal. It's really going to depend on your gear, whether or not you use this. I imagine, some people out there probably have insane gear and they don't need to use Bloodthirst, but my gear is really not that good, so it's kind of what I rolled with. And then Ruthless, which increases your crit chance and crit damage. And then Animosity, which helps generate Fury. So yeah, like I said, depending on your gear, these passive skills can probably vary quite a bit, but I think Animosity and Ruthless are probably going to be pretty standard. So for your gear, obviously the first thing and the main thing that I base this build around is Maximus. And along with summoning the Demonic Slave, which is pretty cool and actually does a decent amount of damage, it increases the damage that your fire skills deal. So what that means is Whirlwind with Volcanic Eruption does 188% weapon damage as fire. So the plus 19% does not get tacked on to the 188%. So it's not like plus 207% weapon damage. What it does is it adds plus 19% to the total damage. So like the damage after the skill has been cast, like however much it hits for. So it's actually a tremendous increase in damage. And it's not something that, like, when you just look at it, you would think about. And as you see, my Maximus rolled Vitality and Lifesteal. Those are... The Vitality is not so important, but I think you should probably look for one with Lifesteal on it, because this build relies very heavily on Steal and Life. And why you want to get Lifesteal instead of Life on Hit is because Life on Hit, with this build, you're going to get a lot more from Lifesteal, because you're going to be doing just crazy amounts of damage, and you're definitely going to be healing up a lot better with the Lifesteal instead of Life on Hit. And then another main component of this build is Mage Fists. So the adds 3% to fire damage basically just adds 3% to the plus 254 to 493 fire damage I have on my Maximus, which is not like a huge increase, but it's actually pretty nice. And then the fire skills It's the same thing as Maximus, obviously. And these Mage Fists, they have 2 random affixes, and mine got strength and crit chance. So these are actually pretty nice ones. The fire skills obviously could be higher, but wasn't really a lot of these on the auction house. But I actually got this extremely cheap. It cost me like 100,000 gold. But I imagine if this build gets popular, they're definitely going to shoot up in price. So I'm rocking some Firewalkers right now. The damage that the Fire Trail does is not that significant, but I don't know, I think they look cool, and it kind of fits the theme of the build, so it's kind of what I was wearing them. But yeah, as you see, mine are actually pretty shitty. They have like strength and a ton of dex, which doesn't really help me much. The fire damage that the boots do, it ticks for like 3k every second, which, I mean, it's a nice little boost, but they're definitely not best in slot. Like Mage Fists are definitely best in slot for this build. But my gear overall is not that great. It was pretty good pre-patch, but some of the new legendaries out there, it's kind of crappy. As you can see, my resistances are very low. You don't need a tremendous amount of resistances, but I imagine if you got like the Immortal King's bonus, like plus 60 resists, plus the stats that those have on them, you would just dominate with this build. And then you see my crit chance is 36%, which is pretty good. With the proc rate of Whirlwind, it seems to, I don't really run out of Fury, so you're probably gonna want to be in the 30s, somewhere around there. And I have 42k life. That's pretty good area. You want to be in this range, like 40 to 50. 50 would be real nice, but you know, whatever. And yeah, okay, so my damage is only at 31k, but then when you factor in the fire skills damage from Mage Fist and Maximus, it's quite a bit more damage that you're gonna get. So I'm really probably like 50, 55, something like that. So there's another axe that gives fire damage. It's called like the Burning Axe of Sancus or something like that. But I think Maximus is probably better, just because the Demonic Slave is pretty beastly. And let's see. So for my follower, I'm having to use a Tormentor, which charms enemies when you hit them, and that actually works pretty well. Like, this is a pretty sweet weapon for your mercenary. I wanted to get another Maximus for her, but they're like 30 million in the auction house right now, and I don't got that kind of gold just laying around, so I'm gonna have to deal with it for now. But yeah, it's pretty standard Enchantress build as well. So yeah, that's gonna do it for basically the build. I'm just gonna leave you guys some gameplay footage, so enjoy.
I see riches ahead.